moving on to the Broncos.
Yeah,
How, you going to be okay?
I'll be fine.
All right. Kicking it off with Case Keenum. Came off a career year last year. He's 20th in points per game. Currently going as the 23rd quarterback off the board at 14.08 for ADP. Do we think that's a fair price for Case Keenum this year?
14.08? Sure.
God, he's dropped then.
That's a dart.
That's a 13.01.
It's a dart throw.
I pulled this yesterday, so it may have changed overnight.
No, I mean, I didn't mind.
By over a round?
By like 5 days ago.
It's last couple rounds get crazy.
Case is at,
fluctuation.
he's at 14.07. That's insane.
Wow.
Right. I take that. I like Case Keenum this year.
I don't know that Yeah. I'll take it just because of the weapons he has and there's upside there. I don't know if he repeats last year, but it's worth the shot at that price.
I mean, his connection with Thielen last year was insane. He had so many lucky throws that he just heaved up, and Thielen happened to be there to catch it.
I hope to God he makes that same connection with Demaryius Thomas.
That would be lovely. That would be a lot of fun for fantasy.
Yeah, or Sanders.
Yeah, I would love Emmanuel Sanders because then I could finally freaking trade him.
All right, we got a dynasty trade quote in for the episode. We met our quota.
Yes, we did.
All right, what do you think of Keenum there, Justin?
I've got him projected at around, I think, quarterback 19 this year. So I just think that he was 14 last year. I think he doesn't hit that level. I think that's kind of the height of what you're going to see out of Case Keenum. I mean, I'm not saying he can't hit that again, that level, but I just think coming into a new offense, even though he does have tons of weapons and the defense there in Denver is good, it's going to keep them in games while he's kind of getting familiar with everybody. I still think that the offense is going to kind of, from everything I'm hearing offensively, it sounds like the run game is the most important, and it's going to be the core of the offense per the head coach. So whether that's Royce Freeman or Devontae Booker or it's some form of 1 and 2 in that way, I just think that the run game is still going to be a prominent thing. But I think that he's going to be in the same situation kind of last year where he's not having to win games. He doesn't have to go be the guy, where he can kind of just manage the game and get points and get yardage and get them down the field.
Well, that seems like a good transition point then. Justin, what do you think of Royce Freeman?
Oh, I'm all in on the Royce Freeman hype. All in on that hype.
I just made a new best friend.
I'm pretty sure you guys have been best friend this entire episode.
You just didn't know it yet.
I didn't.
All right.
Just saying, Royce Freeman, I'm all about him.
Yeah, so am I. I have been since I watched his tape. He's a could go on and on about it. I think he's got a lot of Le'Veon Bell to his game, and I think that when you look at his college production, there's only one other guy that's even come close to matching it. It's Donnell Pumphrey, and he's a ton smaller. I'm all about Royce Freeman.
Yeah, he's currently going in 508 for ADP, so you can actually get him at a decent value if you take him in the mid or early 5th. 27th running back off the board. He's 26th in my rankings, and that might move up here if I get any positive news that he's going to take this job.
He's bigger and more dynamic than Booker, and to me, it's not if, it's when.
Yep, and that's my notes. I have him as my rate 29. I think Booker will kind of play that, fuck you to Royce Freeman owners until, a few weeks into the season, and then I think Royce takes this entire backfield over and sees himself around 70% opportunity share.
Justin, what do you at Freeman in your early projections?
I've actually got him currently at 29 until we get a little more out of the gray area, figuring out what the actual backfield's going to be. I think ultimately, as we get into camp and once we get into the preseason, I think Royce Freeman's going to be the guy. We talked about this on the show last week, that I just think that they're going to give Devontae Booker the option to see if he can be the guy during preseason and whatnot. But ultimately, when the season starts and even to the first quarter of the season, I think Freeman's going to be the guy going forward.
Yep. All right. Well, the two guys they got behind him, Devontae Booker and D'Angelo Henderson, which is also kind of a show favorite here.
Yeah,
how do you think it shakes out between those two?
Booker's going to get the first crack at being the handcuff, if not even the starter, but I think that doesn't last through preseason. I like D'Angelo Henderson, but he needs to flash it and he needs to show it at the NFL level, which he didn't. He didn't have a lot of opportunity last year, so I'm mulligan, I guess. He's still on the roster, so I think he'll get a shot at some point, but he's a little bowling ball of a person. He had a lot of MJD to his game, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ultimately takes it, just because I think he might even be more dynamic than Devontae Booker, but I think Booker's got first crack at it.
All right, where would you take Booker?
Would you draft Booker?
Would I draft Booker?
That is a better question.
Probably not, but if I did, we're talking probably around 9 or 10.
Okay, he's going 10.06 in ADP right now.
So, okay, then yeah.
He's moving up.
It would be worth the stash for me at that point.
Dan?
I think just because he'll have the first crack to start the season, I think they want to give him a chance. I don't know why. He's had 3.5 yards per carry and 3.8 in his first 2 seasons. I don't have any faith in him at all, but I think they'll want to maybe give him a chance because he's, I don't know, been there longer.
Didn't he kind of get the chance last year, though?
He had kind of. It was still Anderson.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all team Freeman here. It's not if, it's when. So,
Welcome aboard. We'll get you a membership card.
All right. Any thoughts on Booker or Henderson there, Justin?
I think that ultimately, Booker, if I'm going to take somebody not named Royce Freeman, it would be Booker. But I still am not 100% sold on Booker being the guy. So I've got projected somewhere around, or at the moment, I got him at somewhere around 115, Devontae Booker. And then I've got Royce Freeman around 143, 144 fantasy points and half point. And I think that could increase Royce Freeman number-wise. I can increase that and take off Booker as the season gets closer.
I think Freeman's going to be one of the better plays second half season. I think he's going to be a darling and kind of be
all right, so we're calling it
a league winner.
We're calling it here. He'll be a second-round pick next year.
No, I'm calling Kareem Hunt. I think Devontae Booker tears an ACL in
the third game on his first carry
in preseason, and it's Royce Freeman.
All right.
Well, now we've gotten dark.
We called Kareem Hunt. Got it. All right. Moving on to the wide receiver core. Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders headline this. Who do you prefer between them, and where would you take each one in your drafts?
Well, it's Demaryius Thomas, and I'm taking him into the towards the 4th round. I think he's one of the better kind of second to third tier wide receivers out there. Just because of the talent and the upside. Yeah, he's getting older, but you saw Case Keenum support two wide receiver 1/2s last year. So it's Demaryius Thomas because of the talent for me. And then I think Emmanuel Sanders does have a rebound year. So you may be back in a situation where you had them running, back to back for a while.
I like them both. Thomas is my 20. Sanders is my 34. Thomas, 405 ADP. That's probably gone up because it's been a few days since I've done this.
Nope, still 405.
Sanders is 801. Give me that all day. That's fantastic ADP for Emmanuel Sanders. I think he's going to be closer to where Thomas is right now. Keenum supported 197 targets to both Diggs and Thielen. That was when Diggs missed time, got hurt in certain games, whatever. Sanders is, I think, more like Thielen.
Well, it's not like Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders with a picture of health here.
True. But I think Sanders is more like Thielen, which is what Case preferred, but Thomas is, he's not like Diggs or Thielen. He's just a big outside bodied receiver who's going to command.
He's not like all the other girls.
Yeah.
All right, Justin?
I've got Demaryius Thomas at 19, and I've got Emmanuel Sanders at 30.5 points. So I think that's a comfortable spot for them at the moment, which it could always go up or down depending on camp and preseason and whatnot. But I think that's where I've got them comfortably at the moment.
So based on where they're going ADP-wise, you're going to be seeing way more Sanders than Thomas?
Don't get me wrong. I'm all about Demaryius Thomas this year just because he finally has a quarterback who can throw the ball to him. But ultimately, I don't think that I'm going to be able to get him at the spots that I want to get him at in ADP because I think everybody else is coming off the Keenum hype as well and expecting him just to do exactly what he did in Minnesota. So,
all right. Any other wide receivers you're interested in this year?
I really do like Cortland Sutton. I like him.
I like Cortland Sutton also. I just don't know that if Keenum can support 3. But I think if either one of Sanders or Thomas struggles, then Cortland Sutton's going to be a very interesting person. He's an into draft dart throw. Or if they get hurt, absolutely. So I think he's on the field. I think you probably see Sanders slide more into the slot, which he started to do last year with Sutton and Thomas on the outside. But if anything happens to either of those two top receivers, Sanders and Thomas, be it injury or underperformance, Cortland Sutton's going to be intriguing, and he's a guy that I'd absolutely recommend taking a throw on at the end of your draft with upside.
Especially if you're in like 16 teams and you need a few flyers.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he's worth drafting in the 12th, especially with the Henderson news of him might not even making the team this year because he can't get on the field. Sutton in that third role or that second outside role could have a chance to, if he flashes, because he's still raw, that he can be a great red zone target. He's fantastic as a he's an above average route runner. He's great with his cuts. I mean, this is a guy that could even supplant a Thomas or Sanders because he takes that next step.
And Justin, where do you have Sutton in your rookie wide receiver rankings?
Oh man, my rookie wide receiver rankings, I don't have them up in front of me, but I know I've got him somewhere in that top 5 wide receiver talk. Honestly, I just think that he is, for this year specifically going forward, I just think that he's in a perfect situation because Thomas and Sanders are both going to be shipped out into the year, and I think him and Hamilton step up and be the new era there in Denver. So
I love Deshaun Hamilton and Chad Kelly coming down the pipe.
AK-47
quarterback of the future.
All right.
Oh jeez.
Any thoughts on the tight ends?
They exist. No. They have tight ends.
They're both good tight ends, and they were both good in college. Jake Butt coming out of Michigan and Hireman coming out of Ohio State. They're both talented, but neither one of them are like the echelon of tight ends that you're going to want to draft.
I mean,
they might be somebody late round, like if you're at a throwaway pick in the rounds 14 or 15 at the end of your draft. But overall, I'm not targeting any of them.
Jake Butt and, Troy Fumagalli being there also, but I like Butt more.
There it is.
Jake Butt has the outside shot at eventually being a Jack Doyle type of tight end, I think.
I agree. I watched both Hireman and Jake Butt out of and being a Big Ten fan, so I've seen both of them in person, and they're both athletic tight ends. I just think that the offense is going to continue to run through the running back and whichever wide receiver Keenum locks on.
Yep.
Yeah. If you are looking dynasty, though, Jake Butt's the play, right?
Yep. I like Butt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do all the Butt stuff.